Carajo is the most thrilling roller coaster at our Leibniz Park Tripsdrill. This ride was one of the first Gerstlauer Infinity coasters, and it may also be one of the best. Find out what makes Carajo so good in this review. Tripsdrill had previously built 3 other roller coasters, all of which were skewed more towards the family demographic. In 2013, they built their first bona fide thrill coaster in Carajo. This was the second Gerstlauer Infinity coaster, opening just a few months after the Smiler at Alton Towers. While this technically was a new model, the Infinity coasters were the natural evolution of Gerstlauer's highly popular Eurofighter model, and it's pretty hard to tell some of them apart. The 2 coasters can have similar looking trains, similar looking track, and similar elements. Carajo is located towards the back of Tripsdrill, and it looks really good with its black paint scheme. The darker colors really contrast with the bright and colorful gardens of the park, signifying this coaster has an edge to it. I had heard Carajo gets one of the longest lines at Tripsdrill prior to my visit, but it had a shorter wait than some rides like the Flume, Gescente Sau, and Mammut. Those 3 rides had 45 to 60 minute waits, while Carajo had a steady half-hour wait all day, and I had no problem waiting that for such a quality coaster. The end of Carajo's queue line is entirely indoors, and it features some nice theming. Carajo translates to high speed in English, and the scenes leading up to the station depict a scientific workshop. The music from Imascore, which is awesome by the way, captures this feel perfectly, along with the visuals. And once you reach the station, you see the trains, which are designed to look like rockets. I love the glowing orange engines on the back. They really pop in the dark station, and it really is a shame that Tripsdrill closes before nightfall, because I'm sure that looks stunning circling the course. But everyone's favorite feature in the station is the infamous puking animatronic. On the unload side of the platform next to the exit gate, you have this animatronic literally puking his guts out. But more concerning is that it sort of looks like he has some blood on his hands and on his mouth, so he probably should be checked out by a doctor. Now, this is one of those rides that opened before all its theming was completed. This seems to be a trend at a few German parks, so thankfully you can experience the ride with its full package of theming nowadays. Carajo's trains feature 2 rows of 4 riders, seating up to 8 riders maximum. The station has 2 separate lines for the front and back. The front row's queue is physically longer, and it usually can hold an extra 2 or 3 trains, so it's only a few extra minutes for the unobstructed view. From a force perspective, the 2 rows were nearly identical, outside of one element at the start, so I usually just went with a shorter wait, which was always the back. This Infinity coaster features T-bar lap bars. You can see these in their lap bar Eurofighters as well. The restraints will be pressed snug against your body, but I find these restraints quite comfortable due to their great contouring. And the freedom of your upper body really enhances the hang time and laterals you experience during the course. These restraints also eliminate the risk of headbanging, although Carajo is a very smooth coaster. Thankfully it doesn't have that rattle or shuffle that can plague some Gerstlauers. Carajo starts with a small surprise. If you want to avoid what this is, then skip ahead to the time shown on the screen. Once dispatched, Carajo slowly rounds a corner into near total darkness. You then suddenly plunge downwards, and this drop can give a little bit of floater airtime, which I find is a tad more pronounced in the back row. You then navigate a super slow barrel roll, still in near total darkness, and this element gives fantastic hang time. I love how so many Gerstlauer coasters have funky starts like this. After a brief brake run, you then dip into the ride's signature launch, and this dip actually gives a little pop of airtime as well, and then you blast into the daylight. This is a rolling launch that accelerates you to 56 miles per hour, or 90 kilometers per hour, in 1.6 seconds. Gerstlauer makes arguably the most forceful LSM launches in the industry, and this launch definitely has some good punch to it. Although I did find it a little weaker than some of their other coasters like Junker or TMNT Shellraiser, and that may have been because I think you entered the launch with a little more speed, but it was still very good. Carajo then blasts you with positive Gs as you ascend the first element, a 98 foot or 30 meter tall top hat. This is the exact same height as the highest point in both Mammut and Hals-Oberkampf. This top hat gives 2 nice ejector pops, both as you ascend and descend the element. And you also get some wild laterals considering there is nothing holding onto your upper body. And you also get some more positive Gs in the pullout. I love Gerstlauer top hats. Karajo then cruises through a supersized corkscrew. It's quite tall, so the train will slow down quite a bit at the top, which results in a pinch of hang time. The next element is this bank turn. The first half of the turn is pretty benign, but there's this sharp twist on the downward descent that can produce some weak little floater airtime. I also like how this turn is placed between two buildings, so this really enhances the visuals and sense of speed. Karajo then twists upwards into the mid-course brake run, and this turn pulls some really nice Gs. I was not expecting that. The mid-course barely slows the train down, but the drop into the second half sadly gave no airtime. The following bunny hill did though. It offered weak floater airtime, and it transitions immediately into a 360-degree helix. The first half of this helix delivers solid positive Gs, but they stop halfway through the element. But it is the calm before the storm, because Karajo is about to wow you with its best element, the awesome dive loop. This inversion claimed a high spot on my top inversions list, and for very good reason. This is a super compact dive loop with an abrupt twist into it, so you get some very extreme laterals. The transition occurs so quickly, you don't really have a chance to get hang time, but that's perfectly fine considering how intense those lats are. You are viciously thrown sideways. You then dive into an underground tunnel, experiencing very strong positive Gs in the way, the best positives on the ride. Karajo then juxtaposes these forces with a floaty final element. You have this super slow corkscrew that feels more like a barrel roll because of how much hang time it dishes out. And this element also had some surprising laterals. I thought the hang time was a little bit better on the right side of the train, but the laterals were a little better on the left, so it was a game of optimization. You then hit the brake run, ending the 2,297 foot or 700 meter long coaster. So what would I rate Karajo? I would give this Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster an 8.5 out of 10. This is a great coaster that does a little bit of everything. The queue line and station have some theming to set the mood, then the main layout has some great elements like that forceful magnetic launch, the strong top hat, and the 4 wild inversions. I love how each inversion throws you around, whether it be with hang time or laterals, and sometimes both simultaneously. I narrowly prefer Hallzuber-Kopf to Karajo, but these two coasters form a unique and formidable 1-2 punch for thrill seekers at Tripsdrill, and this is definitely in the upper half of the Infinity coasters as well. So those are my thoughts on Karajo at Erlebnis Park Tripsdrill. What are your thoughts on this exciting coaster? Let me know what you think about this ride down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.